I got to know about Richmond because the award I got. It was Oldham College, and the person there, with his honor, they gave me an award. So it's really nice to be here. Thank you. As you know, the presentation is called Language of, as you can see, it's about the language of addiction and recovery. My interpretation is it should be called Language and Beyond. I'm a whole person care guy. So when you give whole person care, you got to use all five senses, not just what they hear from you, but also the touch, the way we embrace our patients has to be through all five senses foci. The five senses are hearing, eye, vision, gustative, tactile, and smell. So we can use all senses to help people. At the outset, I'd like to thank the assistant professor of School of Nursing with a bouquet of roses. It's virtual, but we give real ones too. It's not just a language, but feelings matter, right? Care matters, words matter, actions matter. So we have to use the language of caring, the language of empathy, the language of dignity, and language of support to help our patients who are addicted. Have you seen addicted patients in your nursing rotations, right? Nursing, all of you are in nursing? Most of you, okay. So, when you come across, it's not just the words that heal, there are many other ways to heal a person. The word addiction comes from addict, which means bound or devoted to someone or something. From the Latin addict, a sign. Addicare means, to be addicted. So this word currently has a bad connotation. People don't want to be called addicts or addicted. They want to be user. So there is language that people want to be used. But it's okay. Changes over the time. I'm in Indiana, right? In Indiana, Patriots is a bad name. Colts is a good name, right? So words have different meanings in different places. So currently thinking is addict is a bad word. Let's not use it. It is fine. But what's more important is the heart. You have to care for the person. Oxford English Dictionary adds 1,100 words a year, brand new words, to the big dictionary, and deletes 500 a year. So language is a dynamic process, it's not static. Like manners. In olden days, everybody came to school with tie and jacket. Now we don't. So Miss Manners' book is out of the window. So same thing with language, it's a dynamic process. But what's more important is the care we give. How do you define addiction? Anybody have any ideas? Addiction is not easy to define. It's not easy to define. What are you addicted to? Is it a substance? Is it a process? Or is it a feeling, emotion, a person? It could be to anything. The way we're using the word addiction. So in my definition, I call it disease of memory, learning, and judgment. And this is what my working definition is for addiction. Because when I'm talking to you, you're listening, you're putting it in short-term memory, you're saving it in the long-term memory and retrieving it later to see what it's all about and then make judgment out of it. So this is how learning process goes. From auditory canal to the short-term memory centers to the long-term memory, then retrieved and used to make a choice. So that the information is right, wrong, good, bad. So we give it a emoticon. Good, bad, start, So, when you're 13 or 14, have you carved a heart in the tree trunk with your boyfriend or girlfriend? Yeah? So when you go back to your school reunion, the memories come flooding back when you see the heart of the tree trunk. So state-dependent learning. And this is what happens to an addicted person too. When a person is addicted, they are dependent on a certain substance. The memories they acquire cannot be easily retrieved unless they go back to that level of intoxication. So, you heard the word blackout, gray out. When people drink, they forget where they are. So that's a classic example of memories being lost. So we have to keep in mind in nursing and medicine, people may not remember. You have to repeat yourself a few times. Similar to the Alzheimer's victims, you may have to give them mnemonics, some things to remember by. So memories are sometimes shot to pieces. So this process is called state-dependent learning. It's very important to remember that. It's not too often taught to students about state-dependent learning. It's very important. If you go to an alcoholic's home, right, you suddenly sit in a sofa, you find a bottle there. Because they forget when they're drinking, they get to a level of intoxication and they sleep. When they wake up, they don't know where they kept the bottle. It could be in a hat box, it could be in a sofa, it could be behind the window sill. So people leave things everywhere. So when I sober up people, when I go to the homes, I look at all the places to get rid of the old paraphernalia. Otherwise, the habit can come back. So we have to do the hygiene part of the housekeeping. So next question is, language is what we're talking about today, but language is used to what? To communicate, right? To talk to people. So have you heard this formula, 73855? So when we communicate, 55% of our communication is delivered by hand movements, gestures. That's how people perceive the information. 38% by vocal signals, by going up or down in the tone. We can convey a message. And only 7% is delivered by words. So words is not the only thing that people absorb. They like the body language, they like the tone. All of this make the impact on the patient. So you have to keep in mind, just by uttering words, you won't make an impact. You've got to be wholly with the person. And that's how you get to know the person better and convey the message. But words are important too. Have you read the Gettysburg Address? It's only few words. How many words are there? Like 20 or 30 words. We remember that. If we don't have any movie of Abraham Lincoln giving the speech, but the words are used every day. So words have power too. So this is a totality of communication. How we totally communicate? This is body language, tone, words. So all of this you have to get to master when you are talking to people who are sick or not well. So these are the codes of communication. There are many languages in the world, and there are many communities, so each one has their own idiosyncratic way. Like here, when I come here, to make sure I praise the codes. They're very important. So this is how language is formed, and language gets disbanded. What is the other thing about Indiana? Corn. Corn is a very important word here. So we don't have that in Massachusetts, where I come from. So communities have different idiosyncratic ways of looking at the language. So when we communicate, I'm talking to you verbally, but there could be non-verbal communication. It could be formal or informal. I can address it to a particular person or in general, and I can go diagonally, or I can gossip. So all this is ways of communication. Or it could be body movements. So we can communicate it in many different ways. So I just, my associate here, Mark, he said, hey, make it interesting for people to tell testimonies and stories. So I brought some stories here. Let's look at some of the testimonials in communication from my practice. Chunchi Zhu was my acupuncturist. She did acupuncture. She's from China, and she's very good at what she did. Her dad was the doctor for the founder of China, and she's a doctor too in China, but she escaped to cultural division, came to Boston. And then she became an acupuncturist. I hired her. She couldn't speak a word of English, but she's very good with her hands. We used to have a session every week for free for my patients. So one of my patients was the fire chief of Cambridge, the chief of the fire department there. So I sobered him up, and I never saw him for a year. I said, then he came with a gift. He brought his wife with him. He said, I've been here sober for a year now. He said, I haven't seen you anywhere. So he said, oh, I went to your acupuncturist. She took good care of me. And that's all I needed, once a week. I said, you didn't go to the AA meetings? I said, no, I didn't go to AA meetings. He said, why? He said, I stutter. When I'm with people, my tongue is tied. And she could speak a word of English. I didn't want to speak, so we had a mutual good relationship. And she took care of me, and I'm fine. So, sometimes you don't even need words to make people well. It's a heart-to-heart talk. Caroline was my nurse practitioner. Any of you in nurse practitioner school here?
Not yet.
You are?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. So nurse practitioners are very key to my practice. She's one of the best. So once I sent her a patient from the methadone clinic to do a physical exam, and she did a physical exam, and then I didn't see the patient for a year. I said, I'm off of methadone now for a week or two. I said, what happened? You sent me to Caroline, she took care of me. And she did the blood work. I said, I have a boo-boo on my liver. He's a Spanish man. He didn't understand too much English, and she didn't speak Spanish, but the boo-boo he understood. There's some sort of a, she didn't tell him hepatitis, would have scared him, probably back to drinking. So, and then she sent her to the right doctor, a hepatologist, and all the viral load has come down to 0. He took the medicines, and 1 year later he's off the methadone, clean and sober, and I think he was barber. He brought me a bunch of golf balls as a gift. Dr. Bernard Long, he speaks about the power of words. He was making rounds with residents one day, and he's a cardiologist. So he said, NSR, if the patient has NSR, he can go home. So then the patient died. He worked himself up. He misunderstood that NSR means not in satisfactory shape for rehab or something. Instead of saying NSR stands for normal sinus rhythm. The heart is beating normally. So misunderstood the NSR to mean something gruesome. And then he worked himself up and he died. So these can happen. If we don't use the words therapeutically, we can hurt people. Dr. Norman Cousins is a writer of Saturday Evening Post, and his doctor told him you have 6 months to live. So he said, okay, if I'm going to die, I'll die laughing. So he brought all the Laurel Hardy movies and all these, comics. He began to laugh, and his disease went away. He lived for a whole bunch of years after that. He wrote a book called Anatomy of an Illness. So the words had to be very carefully delivered to the patients. Rick Dyer is an attorney in Boston. He speaks about his life, so I put him in there. When he was young, he is a bad heroin addict. He used heroin every day, went to jail. Then he said, I'm hopeless, I'm going to die. So his mom was visiting him despite all the trouble. So he said, borrow my hope. And then he prepared. Went to law school, became a famous lawyer in Boston. Walter Smith is a black gentleman. He had his struggles with the heroin way back when he was young, but then he became very good at what he does. He's what I call a code talker. He knows how to talk jargon in the street. There's a jargon in the street. The word mistress means what in the street? Mistress means heroin. So I'm going to meet my mistress. He's going to use heroin at that moment. Boy, all these names are street lingo or jargon. And he knows that very well. So he can get into people's heads very well. It's one of the best counsels I had. So we can see the language has many dimensions. It's not simply like uttering a word. The gestures matter, the way you look at people matter, eye contact. All of these matter. So in my practice, mine is an outpatient practice, so I have to see my patients frequently. But time is short. So we use the 5-way technique. When the patient walked in, we asked him, what can I do for you? Very straight. Because addiction is like that. They have very big needs for things to be done. I need to get off the stuff. So then we assess them, we advise them, what are the options. Sometimes we have to assist them or arrange transportation. So this is how, all of these 5 A's is called a brief intervention. It hardly takes 5 minutes, but we can get the goal. What the patient needs are, continue to follow up, and then deliver the goods. So this is the technique I adopted in my practice. So brief communications, short. Have you ever written a haiku? So I had my patients write haikus. So they'd come in, I would ask them, write down on this piece of paper. They're intoxicated, but they take a piece of paper. Every day, in every way, I left a blank there. So fill in the blank. So how would you like to fill in the blank? Any ideas? Any words?
Strong.
Strong, good. I like that. So what's yours?
Tired.
Huh?
Tired.
Iron?
Tired.
Tired. Oh. You're breaking my heart there. So anyway, I would say better. Because they have to get better. So, better. I'm better, you're better. So it's like a mindset we create. And then they go to speak it in Boston English. Better. Have you been anybody from Boston here? Yeah? No. So we have a special language there called Boston English. English. So there, you know something in Boston, wicked is a good word. Being wicked means you're a good guy. So my patients used to come and see me, young patients. They like me, they will say, call me a cool doctor. If they really like me, cool doctor. If they really like me, wicked cool doctor. If they really like me, wicked doctor. So this is how the language gets adopted. See my pretty face? That's me. When I landed in Boston in 1977, my ride didn't come. So somebody gave me a ride. And they dropped me off at my cousin's house and they left. So I wrote a thank you letter to the Boston Globe. It got published. The power of the words. So I didn't think much about it because the editor called me. Did you write this? Yes, I wrote it. He published it in the Sunday Globe. Thank you letter to the people who gave me the ride. And the next day I went for an interview. The medical director read my letter. And he gave me a job. So that's how I ended up in addiction medicine. The power of the word. So look at the names of my practices, right? When I first started in 1991 to practice my trade, I called my practice Addiction Medicine Associates. Nobody came to the doors. Nobody came. They called up, but nobody wanted to come into a place that says addiction on the top. So I changed it to Preventive Medicine Associates. So which is fine, but preventive medicine means yoga, Tai Chi. So they expected that I didn't have that. So that didn't work. So I called it Primary Care Associates. That worked. Addicted people began to come, see me, get better, move on. And then the families wanted to come into my office because we were taking good care of the children. The families wanted to join. So we changed the name to Bright Family Practice and named it after their towns. So as if we were local people. And then many of the communities have a lot of different ethnic groups, so we call it international health centers. And then we got such a large practice, I had 250,000 patients, 52 centers. So a lot of people were coming in, even though they are medically they don't need to be in my office, so we created wellness centers where they can come in, read a book, and they take care of themselves, have a cup of coffee, and then go home. So we made a touch point. So then they coined the word pavilion, so they can bring other people in, have like a club. So this is the evolution of the names. You can see how names are important for people. We'll take that into consideration when we create a practice. So these are some of the events. So we see here, right? This woman, her name is Jen, and she's an addict, and she's a physical therapist by trade. And we sobered her up, and we call them ambassadors. We don't call them recovering addicts. We call them ambassadors. If you see her LinkedIn profile, she writes very proudly that she was an ambassador.
In the middle.
Yeah, ambassador. So that's how we gave her honor and dignity. And she liked it, then she got a beautiful job. She's a manager of a medical practice. She moved on with her life. You like these stories? So we made a community there. Berkeley college students would come, perform music, and mothers, we created a group called Mother Kawa, and this is the Bishop of Massachusetts, partying with the addicted people. So we had, we made a community of people. So I had a lot of practices, 52 practices all across the state. Each place has a different language. If you don't know the language, you don't fit in. So I had to hire locally, all the people from locally, and that's how I succeeded. If you don't know the local language, you don't succeed. So in Pittsfield, in the very end of the Massachusetts, they don't call themselves Pittsfieldians, they call themselves hill people. So you got to know how to talk to the hill people. So each community has their own special language. So we have to honor that. Otherwise, they won't come here. So for example, we called it Pittsfield Family Practice, and people just came right in. And so visually it should be appealing to the people who are saying, not just by words alone, but vision should be good. They should like the place. So likability is very important. The other one is like a Japanese house, but it's a place in Greenfield we had a practice. So we made it aesthetically appealing to people. The insides are nice. Most of the addiction care happens on the back wards of the psych hospital. We brought it to the main streets of America. So people wanted to be treated like anybody else. They didn't want to be addict go to the back. When I practiced at Faulkner Hospital, the unit used to be on the 7th floor, which is the hottest unit. Nobody wanted to go there except the addicted people. And the same thing in the St. Elizabeth's Hospital where I practiced, on the 5th floor with a non-working AC. That's not good. You're discriminating against people. So they should get care on the main streets of the townships. So this practice in Holyoke, western part of Mass, was in a church. And the she's a pastor as well as a nurse, so we hired her. So she would, sometimes, people wanted to be praised, we took them up into the church, she held their hands and prayed with them. So touch is important, therapeutic touch. Also, she negotiated with the sheriff of the county to bring all the prisoners on a one-day, Wednesday, every morning, all the released prisoners, so that we can see them get their health care. In a sort of biblical way, she washed their feet, got them food, and these guys never relaxed. They got loved. We did a study on the people who were sent to us, and we gave them not only good words, touch, therapeutic touch, but also prayer, and they did awesome. So all our offices have round tables or square tables, so we can not only meet with, we created equal communications. When you are in a round table, it's a lateral communication. So we are all equal. There's no hierarchies. Most doctor's office, the doctor's office desk may be here, the patient is sitting here. So that's top down talking. So we talk to them always around a table. The round tables are popular in my practice because it brought co-equality. We're all on equal footing. And as you see in this, there's a lot of education going on each time. There's a brain, all kinds of educational materials are everywhere, as they can learn actively from us or passively on their own. Or they can learn passively and bring it to us for feedback. So we've got to create many touch points where people can acquire information. Addiction is a complex area even for doctors. In this country, we have 1.2 million doctors. In the doctors who practice addiction medicine, you count on your fingers, maybe a couple thousand. That's about it. So not too many doctors want to go into this so-called messy field. So that's sad, because we have a big problem with addiction right now. You heard about the opioid epidemic? It's every day in the newspaper. So we need a lot of people, a lot of good nurses, nurse practitioners, doctors to work together to stop this. And we need role models. The other thing I want to show about this is, see on the wall, right? Can you read the picture? What does it say? What does the picture say here? On the wall. What does it say? Success. People need that affirmation. So one word can resonate in their head. They will be intoxicated or in withdrawal. Success. That's like a positive direction. Positive. So they read those things and they remember those things. So there's a team at Springfield International Health Center. We call them International Health Centers partially because the Springfield community has Vietnamese, we have Polish, we have all kinds of ethnic denominations. We put flags up there to honor their community. And by mistake, we put in the North Vietnamese flag, and they didn't like it. All of them marched to my office, made them take it off, put in the South Vietnam flag. So flags are important for some other people. It's an identity, and we honor that. The other name, Falmouth Wellness Center. This is the work we did with the judges there. People who are coming in are all people on probation, and the judge's office is right behind it. So this is called the ice cream shop. It's in Barnstable, Mass. The sheriff had his office right here. We have an office here. The judge has his office in the back. So we could create a community. So we took care of them right where they are. Instead of having to go to 3 different places, we set up our office in such a way that they got one-stop shopping. And we wrote the letter every week to the probation department, making sure they're clean and sober and they're having good urine samples. And so a lot of people didn't have to go back into the prison system. So this kind of, we're a bridge over the divide. You know, people have their roles, but we have to bridge over the divide to help the patients. You can see this nurse practice kind of punished, put a thing on the head. So people have a sense of humor. They're not like, no touch technique. Most of the practices in addiction medicine are like no touch. The security guard there, people are sitting in somewhere, they get their prescription, go away. We're very with the patients, very much with the patients. This gentleman in this picture, when people got reformed or gave up their habits, he was the head of the Latin Kings in Springfield, but he gave up his bad ways, became sober, and he's one of the best workers we had. He made sure he saved 3 people's lives. He knows how to talk, the language of the streets. This young girl, she's my administrative assistant, and she used to field all the calls. When patients called up on the phone, she invented a word. What did she call them? She called them sea kittens. Like fish, right? We don't like fish. We have to fry the fish. For sea kitten, we hug them. So we created a language. So we had a library where they can come and study. So we made it easy for them to get their GEDs or whatever. It's a library with a lot of books. We gave education. Unless you have education, they can't progress up. Once they're felon, their life stops sometimes. They can't get a job, they can't get housing. So we've got to bridge over that with education, enterprise, making them do things. So we taught them, we had a contract with Fitchburg State University to do online MBAs for some other people who have already some degrees and get them some business skills. We found it very important because once they become entrepreneurs, they're very good. The street life has taught them how to sell. So now they transfer it to a regular business. So we found that the IQ of addicted people, can you guess what the IQ is? The average IQ? Make a guess, stab in the dark. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
What are the ranges? What are IQ ranges?
100 is about average, right? I mean,
100's about average?
well, below that is kind of people need help with.
I'm going to say they're above average.
110.
110.
You're about right, 115 to 140. Some of them are in the Mensa class. They're bright people. They don't need too much counseling, they need guidance. So we provide all the centers are called guidance centers or counseling centers. So that people have to be treated at the level they are at. They're not kids anymore, but they have skills. So all these walls are all kinds of educational materials they can grab onto when they come in the office. So passive information transfer as well as active information transfer. So reach out and touch someone. We're going to give a slide to my colleague here. He'll talk a couple of minutes. Some more. Yeah. Just heard it. Yeah.
So to follow up with Dr. Kishore's, Massachusetts model, what did he do once they were, off the addiction and they needed aftercare? So he was helping them with these specialized libraries / community education centers. And that's something that is in great need for people that are coming off. And they're a place for safety. And so with these community education centers, we need to look in the future in 2020 and beyond to really fill a global need because, as Dr. Kishore was saying, that everywhere you turn on the news, they're talking about an epidemic, about the opioids, epidemic. And you hear a lot of air around, a lot of hot air, but where's the answers? And so he's created this place of a neutral place where all are welcome, and not to try to put a label on it, like say it's a center for addiction, because it's got a stigma attached to it. So when you put a neutral name on it, as the pictures that you saw of his neutral facilities, it's a welcoming where people can go in as the whole families, because now there's families where there's children, moms with babies that are addicted because the mothers were addicted, so now the babies are addicted. And they want to be careful not to go into a facility saying that their kids, because their babies are addicted, because then they could lose their child. So they want to come into a safe place where they could be given resources that can help them to get off and try to get back on track. So that's what we're creating here, is a user-friendly platform with these community education centers. So again, it's the language. And we are creating a collaboratory, and the definition of the word collaboratory is a center without walls in which individuals can interact with colleagues, assessing implementation, sharing data and computational resources, and assessing information in the digital libraries. And these community education centers will have the ability to exchange information. There'll be one in every state. That's what we're in the process of launching. And there'll be these centers, one in every state, but they'll be able to communicate with each other. And where people can come in, where he'll have the stuff processed, you'll be able to see through the smoke screens, because there's a lot of information out there that's not accurate. And he's always been to cure an addict, not with another opioid. You don't want, he doesn't want to take them, heal them of opioid addiction, but then to get them hooked on another opioid. His method was always to try to get them off completely. So this is basically a people's movement that's happening, and that's the end. Community education center. So this is a follow-up of his Massachusetts model, which is now starting to get launched. That's it.
Q&A? Do you have any questions?
So you focused on, just summarizing, you focused on healing the addiction, like you just said, without, and not focused, and you did not focus on just trading dependencies like as I see with methadone, right? Okay. I think a lot of people confuse the definitions of addiction and dependency. I think they bring it together.
What's the definition of?
I think how do I want to say that? I think people, I know that I used to, when I used to confuse the terms addict